All right, let's do fix my hair. Let's see who up. Let's do bedside banking. All right, let's call this bedside banking. It's late. You all may not be up, so if not, I don't have to live stream. My voice is already almost gone anyway. So you may not can even hear me well. A little hoarse in my voice, but if you can hear me, come in. It's Friday night and say hello. We'll call this bedside banking. If you can hear me pretty well. This might be a delete video. I don't know. But I'm going to get right into the topic, right? Because, again, I can't hear me that well. And two things, right? It's this meme on social media going around about I paid off my house for the rest of the year. And they had boss moves only. This popular meme. I already got one person in that said hello to you. Excuse my voice, I'm just a little hoarse. I coach, so I've been yelling. And of course, most people caught it, right? Most people caught it and said, well, yeah, you paid off, let me see your house for the rest of the year, but it's December, right? So, but look, I did that in real life, like months ago in 2021. I paid my house notes up to 2022 in advance, like a whole year in advance. And this is the thing, most people can only see a situation like that being um, feasible because they're saying it's December. Like you always hear about paying your, nobody really talks about paying your bills up for the year, right? You always hear about, um, hello, yeah, good night. It is night, right? Good night, good night. I'm trying to sit up. But you always hear about paying your, being debt free. I'll say it that way. You can hear me well, good. You always hear about people saying being debt free. But have you ever tried being bill free for like a month? Like paying your insurance bill up to a year or your vehicles, paying your house or mortgage up to a year off, like in a year in advance, not having any month to month bills, right? He said, thank you. Oh, thank you, Bess. Beast, my cane, says, that's okay. I can hear you just fine. I love your information. Oh, thank you for listening to what God wants you to speak. Thank you. Because I need to take a power nap. I went to bed early tonight, just tired from the hustle and bustle of the week. And I just woke up like this. I just woke up. I said, let's see who wants to live stream. And um, most people are like shocked at that concept of paying your bills at least up to a year. Like not carrying a month to month car insurance note or a house note or whatever the situation or case may be. And people, I'm going to be honest with you, right? I'm going to be honest. Rich. Oh, yeah. Was an ugly dip today in crypto. It was a very ugly dip. Bitcoin is at what, 54,000. But you know what, Jeremy? I was thinking around Christmas this time last year, we had Bitcoin at $26,000 and it's doubled. So when you look at it from that perspective, right? When you look at it from that perspective or that angle, you really have a different viewpoint on it. But yeah, it is an ugly dip. The crypto market is red. We all know that cryptocurrency anytime can be manipulated by the news. It moves with the market. It moves with the stock market. Hello. And Wendell, hello, Dr. Forms, my business partner. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Dr. Forms, for tuning in. And this is the thing, Wendell. Most people don't have the cash flow to buy the dip. They don't have the cash flow, and they don't have the financial education mindset to do that, to buy the dip. Because this is the thing, right? As I was breaking down why most people don't pay their bills up for the year, they don't have the positive cash flow to do that. They are not in positive cash flow. So they can't pay a house note up for an entire year. They cannot pay their vehicle insurance for an entire year. And I was talking to someone on the subject of tithing, of paying a 10%. And or I was communicating with someone on this subject. We were messaging back and forth. And they brought up the concept that they teach people, the 10-10-10 rule, right? The 10-10-10 rule. And I'm like, that sounds good on paper. That sounds good in philosophy. Or it may look good on paper. I say it that way. And it sounds good in philosophy, but it's not a realistic plan people can do. People cannot apply the 10-10-10 rule. And this is why, right? This is why. Because 30% of their paycheck is being taken by taxes off the top. You all excuse my voice. I coach. It's raspy, right? So I've been yelling. So excuse my voice. 30% of people, between the 24% that the federal government takes, and then the 6% for most states that the state takes in taxes, except for Texas and Florida, but they get you through the poll tax and they get you through other way. In those Arizona, Texas, and Florida tax-free states, you have other fees that make up for not having a state tax out of your paycheck. So that equals to 30%. Let's be realistic. Now that we have inflation, which the increased pricing of our goods and services, your gas and groceries, your daycare, small businesses, big businesses, Starbucks, McDonald's, all of them have increased their pricing. You see it in your utility bills. You all are going to see if you haven't already saw it, a spike in your utility bills. There is no way that if you get 30% of taxes taken out your paycheck from the top, and then the other big businesses, which is insurances, come in and take about 20 to 25%. Well, what insurance is, Queen? Your medical, your dental, your health, your vision. Then some people get accidental insurance. I'm not talking about Geico and Progressive yet. They get accidental insurance. Then they may want to get cancer insurance. But if you just have health, dental, and vision, that's 20% of your paycheck. So we're talking about 50% of your paycheck is gone before it hits your direct deposit. From the door. Right? Not from the door, from the door. 50% of your paycheck is gone from the door. And then you want to give 10% to a charity or And I'll say this, you all, we talking banking in the bed. We talking banking in the bed. I want you all to put that in the comment. Banking in the bed. Tithing is is not just to a church or a priest or a pastor. That tithing in Malachi 3 was for the priests and the Levites, right? Tithing 10%. You can tithe to the poor. This is Deuteronomy. I think it's Deuteronomy, right? It is late. But I find that scripture. You can tithe to the stranger. You can tithe to yourself. In the Old Testament, it was called the feast, festival tithe, where people just tithe to themselves 10% for recreation, right? So then after you get 50% of your paycheck taken away, 30% from the government from the top, then 20% for big insurances, your health, your vision, your dental. I'm just going to say those three. Most people have more than that. They have cancer, they have accidental. And then the way the insurance salesman, it bring it to you, say, well, this is what did they say? Pre-tax or post-tax, right? You know, this is pre-tax money, right? I'm like, it's still 20%. So when it gets to the 10% to a charity, a nonprofit, or a spiritual person, there's 6% of inflation because you're not getting a pay raise. Then they say, well, give 10% to yourself. You don't have to give. It's not in your paycheck because you don't understand how to save 30% from the biggest entity that's taking money out of your paycheck. You don't have the financial education for that. 95% of Americans are employees and they don't have the education for that. They don't understand the financial strategies to help. They don't understand. They haven't, and they don't want to teach you this in school. They're not going to teach you this in school because they don't want you to know, because they want you to be an employee, to get a job, so you can be in the highest tax bracket that there is, that you get taxed 30%. They don't teach you hybrid entrepreneurship, where it is wise to always have the power of a home-based business is to always add, banking in the bed. Banking in the bed, a home-based business attached to your paycheck so that 30% can come back to you. That money can shift back to you. Let's see what's on TV. We banking in the bed. And so they don't teach you this in school. And they teach you the very minimal basic about how credit really works. They just teach you the simple interest rates that's charged on credit once you borrow something, and the very basic way of how to balance your checkbook. They never teach you how to leverage money to get assets and to invest. Let me read these comments. People need to understand that there are many systems that was designed to oppress the majority. Prices have always increased. It's how we position ourselves for what we sacrifice. You know, it's something called sacrificing, and it's something called strategy too. And this is the language of the poor working middle class. They only know the language of sacrificing all the time. Well, when are you going to have success? You can only listen. Now, many people believe in reincarnation. I'm not saying it's far-fetched to believe in that, because we serve an infinite God. And he never intended, the infinite spirit never intended for our spirits to have a permanent, like, place of resting. But that's a whole nother live stream for another day. The infinity symbol, right? Always circulating, always a beginning, always an end. So the language of the poor working middle class is always to sacrifice and suffer. And the other is to spend. When the word spend has the word end on it, END, they don't know how to strategize their way to financial success. They only know to sacrifice, to suffer, and to spend. They don't know systems to financial success. Now, this is just right out the dome, right? I just woke up. They don't understand strategy, and they don't understand systems when it comes to financial success. They don't understand suffer, sacrifice, right? And then, so once you get you a strategy, once you get you a system, and then they don't understand spend. The word spend itself has the word end on it. The language of the poor working middle class is they only know how to spend. They only know how to suffer. They only know how to sacrifice and save money, SAVE. They don't know how to invest money. They know about saving. They know about gambling. And they know about sushi. That's it. They know about scratch off. They know about casino. They don't understand investing money. They don't understand having infinite cash flow. Listen, I want you all to put this live or in the replay. They don't even understand how to hire, HIRE, their house to work for them. Did you all know you can hire your house to work for you? Hire your house. Most people only go to work to pay a house note, to work for the house. They don't know how to flip it and make their house now work for them. The poor working middle class only understand how to work for money. And did you all know that 70% of Americans consider themselves middle class? When 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck? The stats are not right. How can 70% of Americans consider themselves middle class when 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck? People, let me tell you something. You should not consider yourself middle class unless you are annually making 6 figures a year. Annually. 6 figures a year, 5 figures a month. Not 4 figures. 5 figures a month, 6 figures a year is middle class. Other than that, it's the poor working class. That's it. That's it. And so, unless you get this financial education, unless you get this sacred knowledge that people don't want to invest in, you're always going to be. Do you know how long it's been since some people even look at their paycheck stubs? They don't want to look at their check stubs. They just want to check their direct deposit. The reason why they don't want to look at their check stubs because they don't want to face reality and realize I'm not making enough money. See, rich and wealthy people will tell you this. It's not about how much money you make. It's about how much you keep. That's not true. You can't make under 6 figures a year and survive. You got to find other sources of income. You cannot make under 6 figures a year and survive, people. You listen, one one source of income is dangerous to your wealth. I'm watching Philadelphia and Atlanta house game. Philly just won by 2 points, if you want to know. One source of income is dangerous to your wealth. You cannot survive on one source of income. If you're married, the two shall become one. That's two sources of income. That helps tremendously. But double the income, but double the marriage, double the financial responsibility. So even a married couple should have more than one source of income. So you never heard of income shifting. You never heard of cash flowing strategies. And this is why I tell the church, if you want to really teach people about giving 10%, you need to educate them on how to get the 30% back. Because if you really break down your paycheck, you're living off 30 to 40% of your paycheck. So you hire your house to work for you. You say, Queen, what if I'm not buying a house? What if I'm not a home buyer? Well, your apartment, your condo, your townhouse, wherever you are living, your resident, you need to make wherever you reside to become residual income. Wherever you reside needs to be residual income. You should be able to claim the square footage of where you live for tax deductions, a certain percentage of your square footage, 20%. 20% of your utilities for where you live coming back to you. See, cash flow is just not about money. Look, Reverend I said it like this. The poor working middle class only understand how to spend money. And the word spend has an end on it. But they don't know how to circulate money. Reverend I said circulate. Circulate means when that money leaves out, it comes back to you. You can only do this through a home-based business that can teach you these principles. And these are all biblical concepts. The Bible teaches you about the power to financially get out of debt and to get out of an economic slave system in a home-based business through 2 Kings chapter 4. Right? The Bible teaches you the power of a home-based business and how to stay out of the the financial system of going working for someone or a corporation other than making yourself a corporation. Another thing, you should not be taxed as a citizen. You should be taxed like a corporation. Many people don't understand how to do this. And that's why they're always talking about becoming a natural citizen. But most people don't understand that process either, and it never happens for them. When they can simply add the power of a home-based business. And you all are texting me on my other phone about the home-based business. Don't call me. Like, I don't know what time it is your time. I just so happen to be awake. But it's like 12:13 Eastern Standard Time. So you can text because I'm on. I just so happen to have my phone for the home-based business is on the screen. 254-788-1144. But don't call, right? Don't call. Let's not be rude. Let's not be rude as we're doing banking at bedtime, people. Let's not be rude. Let's not call. It's not business hours. Not gonna talk to you on the phone. I talk to you on the camera. Thank you, Natasha, for the 1212 super chat. I am grateful for you all as well. Right. Uh, as we are in the 12th month, right? 12th month by the Gregorian calendar. We're in the 12th month. And this is actually, let me see, the 10th month. And the Hebrew, Greek calendar, Jewish calendar. Number 10 is the complete cycle of a thing. And as you see, the government has extended again, preventing a shutdown until February. And I know many of us will be celebrating the New Year's in January, but biblically the New Year is yeah, I had somebody call me twice as I'm live streaming. Don't do that. I'm not gonna pick up the phone. Um, the New Year's is in March. So until you give yourself a success strategy, you're always going to be behind the eight ball. You're always going to be that 78% of people that's living paycheck to paycheck. You need to learn how to hire your house or your townhouse or your apartment or your condo, wherever you live, work for you. But again, as Jesus had 12 disciples, Natasha with the double 12, the number 12 is a representation of power, right? Um, and also a complete cycle as well as, again, in the Gregorian calendar, this is the 12th month, which means the ending of a thing, right? Um, the ending of a thing. And so, people, with that being said, I just want to do this quick live stream because most people like, yeah, you have, paid your rent or mortgage um up because it's December. No, I did that months ago. Like for 2022, I really did that months ago. I don't, sometimes I wake up and I don't even know what day it is or what day of the year. Whenever I wake up, I just go to work with purpose and intention to be a better person, to be better spiritually, mentally, and financially. And, again, the poor working middle class only knows how to spend money. They don't understand investing. They don't understand cash flow and strategies. They don't understand income shifting. On money, on cash money, it has "in God we trust." And you all think the government is talking about the infinite God that we talk about. No, they're talking about themselves. They print the money. They take 30% of it from the top off of your labor. And then they give you what's left from the 30%. Then they increase pricing, which you can't control. You can only prepare, and plan for. And then they have on this cash money system, "in God we trust," right? And they're talking about they are your gods because you become their slave to work for them. Most people have never held real money in their hand. They only held paper, cash, fiat. They never held real money in their hands. So number 12 is considered to be a perfect number, right? And it symbolizes God's power and authority, Natasha. I want to finish with that. Um, but listen, as I talk about the government system, it's supposed to also symbolize a perfect government foundation. And it's our government foundation is far from perfect, right? Our government foundation, people, is far from perfect. As Jesus had 12 disciples and 12 men that he wanted to spread the gospel and the good news. And Jesus told, guess what? As we're on, let's talk about the number 1111. Yeah, fiat currency. Jesus had 12 disciples, but he told the 11, you all put in 11. Put in 11. Put in 11 whether you are watching this live or in the replay. He told the 11 because Judas killed himself. You all know that, right? Judas killed himself. So he told the 11 that God has given him all power and authority in both the earth and in heaven. You all, I just had a bedtime revelation. That was straight bedside revelation. I need to start doing bedside banking more especially when my voice get better. I just had a bedside revelation about 11 I never had before. So he gave the 11 all power and authority in both earth and heaven. You all, number 11 means God's divine authority. Someone put Matthew 28 and 18 in the chat. Put Matthew 28 and 18 so I can remember this. You all put this in for me. Matthew 28 and 18. God told the 11, I have given you all power and authority. And not just in the earth, but in heaven too. So number 11 represents a divine transition into a reset, into the number 12. 12 is at midnight. For some people, if you are on Central Standard Time, it's 11:21 for you, right? A divine transition to the number 12. And the number 12 again means a perfection or a perfect thing or considered a perfect number. Listen, the number 12 is the double number 6, 66. The number 12 is the double number 6, 66. So this is why God specified. Thank you, Natasha, for that 12:12. I would have never went here if it wasn't for her. So thank you. God specified 12 unleavened cakes of bread, right? To be placed every week in the temple with frankincense next to two piles, right? Next to each two piles were to be made. The priest commanded to change the bread every week, every Sabbath day. This is in Leviticus because I just finished studying this because I'm getting ready to do a crypto teaching from Leviticus 25. So 12 symbolized perfection. It's supposed to be a perfect government, but our government does not operate like that. And it's supposed to be completeness of a nation. And that's why in the Gregorian calendar, you have 12 months because it's supposed to represent completeness of a nation, like the nation of Israel as a whole. And so every week in the temple, every week, every 7 days, every Sabbath day, they had to have 12 unleavened cakes of bread, Leviticus 24. But number 11 represents God's power and authority in two places. In two places. in both earth and heaven. Matthew 28:18. You all, that's good. Amber says, how do I become a Patreon member? You all will put me to work at the in this bedtime revelation. Give me a second, Amber. Um, that was good. That was good. That was good. I do not answer questions to people that don't give cash apps. My opinion is only to be shared with those who have invested and not the interested. Hope you all can hear that. My opinion is only to be shared with the invested, not the interested. There's another bedtime revelation I just got. My opinion is only to be shared with the invested, not the interested. So don't just pop up on my live stream. What does this number mean? It means you need to give those numbers so you can get something from me. If you want to get something from me, you have to give something. That's just the exchange of services, right? And I don't go into numbers all the time. It's whenever I'm spiritually led, and I didn't even come out here to talk about numbers other than the numbers out of your paycheck, right? Other than how the numbers out of your paycheck is affecting your that's the Patreon link. How it's affecting your standard of living. How the number out of your FICO score, your credit score, is affecting your standard of living. People, you cannot operate living off of 50% of your paycheck. And they tell you it's gross. They call it gross. They tell you your income is gross. Your gross income, and you all are trying to live off the net. Where some people cannot even fathom paying their house note up to a year, or their vehicle note up to a year, or their vehicle insurances up to a year. You're talking about being debt free, but can you afford, do you have the positive cash flow for a year to be bill free, at least for a year? Right? At least for a year. Yeah, they tell you your pay is gross. They tell you that. So people, number 11 means all power and authority in both the heaven and earth realm, according to Matthew 28:18. Right? And number 12 is the number of perfection and completion. I don't know if it means the number of perfection, though. Because Jesus' 12 disciples was not perfect. It was completed, though. And the number 6 means very good. God said on the 6th day, he created the wild beast and man. And that was the only day that he called very good. Right? He called it very good. And 6, this is why I know 6 is the number of completion. Because 12, which is double 6, is the number of completion. And in the Bible, it tells you by the 7th day, everything was completed. 7 means divine perfection. 7 means divine perfection. 7 colors in the rainbow, divine perfection. 7 means a vow, an oath that is made. God said, I will always have my boat in the clouds as remembrance. 7 means to remember. It is also resetting. That is the 7th day. The 7th day means to reset, to recharge. revitalize. 7 transition to the number 8, which is the upside down infinity sign. So number 12 is the number of completion. 7 is the number of perfection. 6 is the number of completion. 6 and 6 equals 12. And have you all ever thought about that 6 times 111 is 666? So that means that on the 6th day, God created man. And he said simply, you are completed to the 3rd degree. Why the 3rd degree, queen? Which is 666. You all, I promise you, I'm getting some revelation from this live stream. Because it's 6 protons, 6 electrons, and 6 neutrons. That's our DNA makeup. We are carbon beings that brings forth life. So 6 to the 3rd degree, 666, is not evil. It is the potential for evil. It is the potential for evil. What do you mean by that? Well, on the 6th day, the wild beast and man were created, but God still said both of them were very good. You have the pituitary gland and you have the pineal gland. That pituitary gland part of our brains, our human, is that animalistic, that reptilian part. That part that when you hear this urban slang that says, don't try me, I'll go beast mode. That's what people talking about. My pineal part of my brain is the spiritual side, right? It's the side that'll do good to you, that wish you well. But that pituitary gland is that gland in me. You know, people say in the urban language or slang, don't try me, I'll go beast mode. Or in sports, they say that this person just went beast mode. That's why in the 6th day, wild beast and man were created together. It is just a parable that we have 2 parts of us, the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, the yin and the yang, the good and the bad. It is all within all of us. It's neither right or wrong. It's the makeup of how the infinite God created us. Everybody has the potential to do evil or good. It's whichever party or whichever divine spirit per se that you yield yourself to. So the number 12, I see the number 12 again. Judah says 12 is 12 tribes of children of Israel. The 7th day of the week is also Saturday. That's the Sabbath. I also shouldn't add, take away from the Bible. I'm not adding or taking away from the Bible. You're not adding anything. You're telling me stuff I already know. I'm telling you directly what the Bible says about the number 6. You go read the Bible, go open up Genesis. It says, see, this is the thing. Most people think you are. And also, let's break down the number 12 since you want to talk about adding and take away from the Bible. See, you're not gonna test my knowledge on my channel. And because you only mentioned the number 12, about you only telling me things about the Bible, you're not explaining nothing. And this is with love. This is with love, right? Let's go beast mode. Since I was trying to explain that. I already talked about the 12 unleavened cakes. You've only mentioned 2 things. 12 is number of completion. And New Jerusalem, which is made in heaven and which brought to earth by God himself, there are 12 gates made of pearl, which are protected or by the angels. Each gate will be one of the names of Israel, since you talked about Israel or mentioned Israel. 12 tribes of Israel. And the walls were exactly 144 cubits high, which is 12 multiplied by itself. That's Revelation 21. So the city itself will have 12,000, or being 12,000 square footage or furlongs. Since you want to break down 12 Israel and 12 tribes and not even go into what that means. There are 12 names in the Bible, for example, that have only 2 letters. Right? 12 names. And guess what those names are? Dr. Forms, he said this is so good. 12 names in the Bible that only have 2 letters. And guess what one of those names are? AI. AI. This is from Joshua 7:2. And AR from guess what book? Oh, I'm watching basketball. The book of Numbers, AR. I can go on and on. You got Ed, you got ER in the Bible, you got NO, you got on, you got us, UZ. 12 names in the Bible. They have 2 letters. Only 12 names. There are 12 patriarchs in the Bible. 12 is the number of completion. What? Okay, Matthew 28 says, no, Jesus was speaking to his 11 disciples. Let's pull up. Right? That God had given him all power and authority. As Jesus told his 11 disciples, after he was raised to the dead, he was still talking to the 11. He was still talking to the 11. And we won't even get into, there's no scientific evidence that Jesus ever walked this earth. We won't even get into that. Since you want to be real technical, right? The Bible is all about parables, symbolisms. Most people take it literally. And they can't comprehend. I came on here to talk about the power of a home-based business and how to get more money out of your paycheck. See, this is what I talk about, listening to people that's either go by religion or spirituality. They can't apply this to their real life. They don't know how to apply the Bible to their real life, to the real world. They don't know how to dissect the parables. Now, I don't think he did was quote something about the 12 tribes of Judah and gave you all no explanation on how this is going to help you in your real life. Now, I'm reading from the Amplified. And Jimmy says, flow like water. If all of you all have a Bible app, I want you to read this for me for Judah Lion, whoever, Judah Lion. That says, all power given unto me. That's not what it says. This is why you all need to fact check a lot of people that read their Bible to you. This is the Amplified version, Matthew 28:18. Jesus came up and said to them, the 11. You're absolutely incorrect, sir. To them. And I'm going to read the King James. Let's read it from the King James to make sure we're right. And Jesus came and spake unto them. You all see that? See how people misteach you and uneducate you? To them. He's talking to the 11. He's talking to the 11. But see, most people, when they're in a religious teaching institution, they just go by what the preacher says. They don't even go and read that literature for themselves. Then they don't even ask themselves, how does this apply to me? In my real life, what parable of understanding do I supposed to understand from this? The Bible tells you this is a book about parables. He tells you I speak in parables, and most people don't get it. In Genesis, there was life. Adam and Eve were not the creators of life. The Bible tells you in Genesis to subdue, multiply, and replenish the earth. Means there had to be earth before then. There had to be earth before then. Look, Judah, look, unless you have some type of learning disability, it says in black and white, Jesus said unto them, now I'm not going to debate you on this, but I can just block you from my channel because I've shown you in 2 different versions in black and white. And you want to keep your same BS, which is your belief system. And that's fine. But for all of you trying to be right, and what have you given the community on my live stream that helping them by telling them the 12 tribes of Israel? And it's clear that Jesus was speaking to the 11 in Matthew 28 and 18. What do you tell people to help them in their everyday life? Or do you just try to argue the Bible? How is this going to help people in their everyday life? Because they need to understand the number 12 means the completion of a thing. And that this dollar system is about to be completed and bankrupt out. They need to understand Daniel 2 and 22, and as it relates to 222 in the year 2022, that we're moving to a new financial currency system. And you need to position yourself accordingly for the greatest wealth transfer. And you need to get more money out of your paycheck, and you need tax shelters. You cannot live off 30 to 40% of your paycheck. And he's talking about unto me, and nowhere in the Bible, in Matthew 20 and 18, does it says unto me. It says he said unto them. Now he's going to make his own version of the Bible. You all don't let people manipulate you. When they start misquoting Bible scriptures, go read it for yourself. Read it for yourself. So cryptocurrency, as we talked about the 12 names in the Bible that have 2 letters, one of those names are AI. Cryptocurrencies, people, is not just the new artificial intelligence, but it's also going to help revolutionize the healthcare movement. Healthcare as well. And in the healthcare field, with biometrics and data. So cryptocurrency is the new currency system reset. As we're entering it, the great wealth transfer is happening right now. It's hidden in plain sight. So things like Uber, PayPal, Square, that you all know Square, for example, it just changed its name to Block to represent the blockchain. Facebook changed its name to Metaverse. And I always talk about the number 4. The number 4 is prophetic for what would happen in the earth realm on the 4th day. Life, right, was created. Life. The seed was able to now be transformed into fruit. A seed was now fruit so that man could eat. So life was here by the 4th day. Light, the greater light to rule the day, the lesser light to rule the night. Liquid, the oceans and the seas, and land. Those 4 L's. So 4 is prophetic of what is happening in the earth realm, right? So yeah, I'll invest in the blockchain. Square changed its name to Block. And so with that being said, you got the big 4. And once you understand what these big four are doing in the business world, you understand what's going to happen with the monetary system. Google, Apple, Facebook, now called Metaverse, and of course, Amazon. Google, Apple, Metaverse, and Amazon. And so people will transition to a new economy. If you need more cash flow, income shifting out of your paycheck, text tomorrow 254-788-1144 to get that money back to you. And if you need more cash flow as well, see, income shifting is one thing. It's getting that money back to you from the government. Cash flow is through networking through other people. John D. Rockefeller said it this way: I'd rather earn 1% off 100 people efforts than 100% of my own. So this is the one principle of cash flow shifting or accumulation through the method and the system of John D. Rockefeller. I'd rather earn 1% off 100 people's efforts, people that's powerful, than 100% of my own. So with that sign off, I really enjoyed this live stream. Thanks everyone that put in Matthew 28, as Jesus said unto them was his 11. Our power has been given unto you. The shift, the transfer of power. Number 11, that's all the twin towers represented. The shift and transfer of power has been given unto you both on heaven and earth. So when you give $11 or when you give $111, or some people give $1,011, or when you give 11,100, that just means a transfer of power, as we're going to experience right now, transfer of wealth. I'm signing out, you all. Listen, how big can you think? How big can you think, right? Magnify your mind. And listen, people, manifest with your mouth. The good book says the power of life and death is spoken through your tongue, right? But it also says in Proverbs 6:2 that you are snared by the words of your mouth. It says you are trapped by the words of your mouth, and you are ensnared by the words of your mouth. You are snared by the words of your mouth, people. You are taken by the words of your mouth. Proverbs 6:2. Maximize your mission in life. Be blessed to be a blessing. Deuteronomy 28:11. As we're on 28:18, Matthew 28:11, Deuteronomy says great prosperity, people. Be blessed to be a blessing. And always speak the language of the wealthy by multiplying your money, according to Matthew 25. Right. Thank you all so much. Good night. Good night. That's banking in the bedroom. I might do more of this. Let me know. Leave me some comments. If you enjoyed banking in the bedroom tonight, let me know. I might do more of this on Friday nights. And I'm not doing none of that. I'm not putting no onions on my feet. I want to be in my I don't want to be smelling like onions. Not doing that. Nobody has no power to put nothing on me. Nobody at all. I'm not doing none of that. So, yeah, back in the bedroom. I'm out. Queen out. You all be blessed.